Hey guys, it's Jordan from Tacoma Lifestyle. Today we have another very exciting install for you guys. Our third gen Tacoma Lifestyle Rogue Light Bar Grille is now available on our site. We're going to show you guys how to install it on your Tacoma. It gives you a really sweet 20-inch light bar, Raptor Lights, and it's just a great upgrade from the OEM grill. So let's go ahead and jump into the install, show you guys how it works. So we just want to go over a couple of things that you'll find in the box of your new grill. First, you'll have the grill itself with a 20-inch light bar and Raptor Lights on the grill. Then you also have all of your wiring right here, as well as a switch for your light bar, and then your wiring for your Raptor Lights. And then depending on which model of Tacoma you have, you will have a TSS sensor or a front-facing camera, and you will have brackets for both of those. So the truck behind me actually does have TSS and a front-facing camera as well. So we're going to be installing both of these on our grill prior to installing it on the truck. If your truck doesn't have TSS or front-facing camera, don't worry about installing them on this grill. You'll just install the grill as is straight out of the box. All right, so we do have a couple of tools that you will need for this install. First are some plastic pry tools. We have two right over here. Then some needle nose pliers, some clippers that we have right here, a screwdriver, a ratchet with a 10mm socket and a 13mm socket, and then a wire crimper as well. So the first thing we're going to want to do with our grill is install our sensor garnish. To do that, there are going to be 4 screws on the back right here that we are going to remove to then insert our sensor garnish onto the grill. So go ahead and grab a Phillips head screwdriver and start unscrewing those bolts. So those 4 bolts are going to be located right here, 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 and here. Take your Phillips head screwdriver and just start unscrewing them. That will allow you to remove this piece right here, and then you'll take your garnish and then install it on the back of the grill. Now you will have to press up on the garnish while you're screwing, taking those 4 screws and screwing them back into place. Get your Phillips head screwdriver and just start tightening these down. I just like to do one on each corner to start off. That way it makes taking the other 2 screws and screwing them in just a lot easier. So we just got our sensor garnish installed. We're gonna wait to install the TSS sensor until we get the grill off of this truck behind me. But for now, we are going to get our front-facing camera bracket in place. And to do that, you'll use the same Phillips head screwdriver and unscrew 4 more screws on the back of the grill. Those 4 screws are going to be located right here, 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 and here. And you'll just take your Phillips head and start unscrewing those. This is where that camera bracket will sit. All right, so now you'll take your front-facing camera bracket, you'll just lay it over those holes where those screws go, and then you'll start screwing it into place. And these are the same screws that we removed earlier. We are just now putting them back where they were with that camera bracket installed. And you want these to be snug, not too tight. If you over tighten these, it will crack the plastic. So just be careful when installing this not to go too tight with these screws. All right, so now that we have installed our front-facing camera bracket and the TSS sensor garnish, we're now going to set this grill to the side for now and get into removing the OEM style grill on the Tacoma behind me. All right, to start taking our OEM grill off, we are going to want to unplug the TSS sensor and the front camera as well. To do that, there is a connection right behind here on the OEM grill. And just to give us some more room to operate, I am gonna undo these 2 clips right here and right here that are holding some wires in place. Once I do that, I'll be able to get my hands onto this plug and unplug it. So I'll take some needle nose pliers and I'm just going to get these clips to push through the plastic on this grill. just like that. And just like that. Once you're able to get the wiring harness free, go ahead and grab that connector right here. There's going to be a little tab on the back. You're just going to push down on that and pull that apart. This is going to disconnect your TSS sensor and your front camera. So we're now ready to start unbolting our OEM grill. To do that, there's going to be two 10mm bolts up here, one right here and one right here. So I'll take a 10mm socket and a wrench and just start unscrewing these. So the next thing you'll want to do is there are going to be two clips, one on each side by the headlight that you'll just want to unclip. Once you do that, you will now be able to pull the OEM style grill off of your Tacoma and continue on with the install. Beautiful. All right, there are going to be some spots that you'll want to put pressure on to get the grill off. There's going to be a couple clips just along the bottom here. And then there's going to be two big clips right here on the side by the headlight. So when I take the grill off, I kind of like to pry one side right down here and then one right over here. And then that will give you enough force to get the grill unclipped so you can continue on with the install. All right, we will now want to remove our TSS sensor and our front camera from the grill. To do that, we will first start with the camera. There's going to be a Phillips head screw right here and right here. And then to remove the TSS sensor, there's going to be two 10mm bolts on either side of the sensor. All right, there will be one more Phillips head screw that you'll want to remove before getting your TSS sensor off. It will be located on the top of the grill right there. Just unscrew that and that should free up your TSS sensor. All right, there will also be a couple of zip ties you'll want to undo to get these wires free. Just be careful not to cut the wiring harness at all. I just got these little wire clippers right here. I'm going to be very careful in cutting these zip ties. That way we can get this wiring harness loose. And once you cut those zip ties, you'll now be able to remove both the TSS sensor and the front-facing camera from the OEM style grill. Now we can focus on getting this grill shroud separated from the OEM style grill, and then we can install our new Tacoma Lifestyle Rogue Light Bar Grille. All right, we are now going to start removing the OEM grill from the grill shroud. So to do that, there's going to be a lot of screws around this thing. We're going to start unscrewing it. So go ahead and get a Phillips head screwdriver and start going around the grill and unscrewing all of these screws. All right, so we just removed all the screws from the grill. In total, there's gonna be 18 screws you're gonna wanna remove. And now we're ready to start popping all the clips off of this grill. There's gonna be 2 main ones right here, as well as just a couple of different tabs along the bottom and the sides. You'll just kinda wanna go one by one and just start feeding each of them through the grill until eventually you'll be able to split the OEM grill from the grill shroud on the outside. Now I'm probably gonna end up using some needle nose pliers and a plastic pry tool to do this. Just kind of feed the clips through. You wanna make sure that as you're going around that they're not popping back into place when you're done. So it can be a little bit time tedious, but just kind of do your best and start with one side and then just move your way around the grill. Okay, so to undo these clips, there's no real great method to do this. I'm using just a pair of needle nose pliers and then a plastic pry tool. But you just kind of want to start with one and work your way around. It's going to be frustrating, but eventually you'll be able to get all of these off and pull the OEM grill away from the grill shroud. All right, so now that we have the OEM grill separated from the grill shroud, we're now ready to install our new Tacoma Lifestyle Rogue Light Bar Grill onto this. So let's go ahead and grab that and continue with the install. So we're gonna remove the grill shroud for a second, lay the light bar down, the light bar grill down, and we'll now put the grill shroud over that and just kind of feed those clips that are around the Tacoma Lifestyle Rogue Light Bar Grill and just feed them into place on the grill shroud. And you'll just push down until you hear them snap right into place. And just like that, your grill is now installed. So once you've clipped everything into place, you're gonna wanna take those 18 screws you removed earlier and then go around the grill the same way as before and then reinstall those screws. So I'm gonna lay this flat, I'm gonna grab some of those screws, I'm just gonna start going around the whole grill. All right, so we've gone through, we've screwed the grill into place. We did have 2 screws left over that the new grill does not use. Once you've done that, your new Tacoma Lifestyle Rogue Light Bar Grill is now installed onto your grill shroud. And we're now ready to start installing the front camera and the TSS sensor. So to install the TSS sensor onto this grill, you will want to grab these 2 threaded pieces from the OEM style grill and then slide them into these slots on the new Tacoma Lifestyle Rogue Light Bar Grill. Then place the TSS sensor in place. There are gonna be spots that it will fit into on the grill. All right, once you get the TSS sensor in place, you'll grab those 2 bolts you removed from it earlier, start hand threading them in. These are going to be just kind of snug. You don't want to over tighten these and risk cracking the plastic. Just get them started and then go over them with a ratchet and snug them down. Once you get those in place, there is 1 screw on the top of the TSS sensor that we'll want to install. That is going to be located right there. So go ahead and grab one of those screws from when you remove the TSS sensor and screw this into place. The next thing we will want to do is install our front-facing camera. To do that, there was a cover on this. I already pulled it off. It's right here. I may have broken one of the clips on it, but that might just happen when you're removing it. You won't need it for this new grill. And then we're gonna want to unconnect the camera right here. There's gonna be a tab on the back, push down on that and pull, and then the camera will come right off. Then there are going to be two screws, one right here and one on the top. We already removed one of them. Go ahead and grab a smaller screwdriver and start unscrewing this from the camera. We will not be using this old bracket. We have a new bracket that will hold the camera in place. And just like that, your camera is now ready to be installed. All right, the next thing we will want to do is grab the bracket that comes with the new Tacoma Lifestyle Rogue Light Bar Grille. The camera can only be inserted into this bracket one way, so just find the way that it fits and just work it on there. So it'll fit just like that, and then we'll go ahead and place it in the spot of where that camera bracket we installed is earlier. And then you'll have 4 screws. You're going to install those 4 screws on each of these 4 corners right here, and then that will hold your camera in place. And you'll just want to snug these screws down. Again, don't make any of these too tight or you might risk cracking the plastic. All right, once you've installed those screws, your camera is now in place. You can go ahead and plug your camera back into the wiring harness, and you are now ready to do the rest of the install. Okay, so we are now ready to start wiring this grill to the truck. The first thing we're gonna start with is the light bar wiring. So the cool thing about this kit is it gives you a OEM style switch for the light bar. We do have to get the wire through the firewall. So to do that, there's gonna be a little rubber boot down here on the driver's side of the Tacoma. There's gonna be a wiring harness that goes through that and into the truck. Just go ahead and pull on this rubber, and then this will pull the boot out so you can start wiring through the truck. Another way you could do this too is just cut a small slit in the boot and throw the wire through, but we're just gonna pull the rubber boot out. Okay, so now we're ready to start feeding this wire through the firewall. So with that new hole that you kind of created by pulling the boot out, just feed this through that hole and into the cab of the truck. So we fed the wire through the firewall of the truck. It is now on the inside of the cab, so we're good to connect our OEM style switch and get the switch installed. Okay, so now we're in the cab of the truck. We're gonna get our switch wired up. We have a blank spot for a switch right here on the driver's side of the steering wheel that we're gonna use, but you might have a spot somewhere else in your truck. This is just gonna be the easiest one for us, so this is the one we're gonna use. Go ahead and get some, like a flathead screwdriver or something, to just pry this out, and then that will expose a spot for you to use your new OEM style switch. All right, and once you've removed that blank, you're now ready to install your new OEM style switch, which is gonna look like this. It's gonna have grill light bar on the front of it, and this is gonna be what we'll use to use our grill light bar. The easiest way of doing this is going to be feeding this wire through that new blank and down the side, down here. And then this will just pop right into place. Just like that. And now your light bar switch is installed. All right, the next thing we'll wanna do is plug this switch into the wiring harness. So the wiring harness is through the boot right underneath here. I'm just gonna connect these two, and then you'll be able to use the light bar with this switch right here. Now to wire this light bar, you're gonna wanna grab a 13mm socket with your wrench and loosen the positive terminal of the battery. Now the positive side of the light bar, because Toyota kind of varied the sizes on the positive terminal, you will have to cut the O-ring to make it fit. But once you do that, you'll be able to just tighten it down with that bolt and it'll still have a solid connection. So just loosen that, and then you'll get the positive wire, feed it under, and then tighten it back down. All right, so the next step will be grabbing a 10mm socket and loosening the ground bolt on the side of your truck. So grab that and just start loosening that bolt. You will then grab the negative side of the light bar, put it over that grounding cable, and then thread the bolt through. And then using that 10mm socket, just tighten that down, and then you'll be able to test your light bar. All right, so now that we have the light bar harness wired up, we can kind of set this to the side for now. We are now going to work on installing the Raptor Light wiring harness. So the Raptor Light wiring harness is going to have an O-ring right here. We are actually not going to use that, so we're just going to cut that off. And strip out some more wire. And then I have an add a fuse right here that we are going to use to tap into one of the fuses on the fuse box. So we have a set of wire crimpers just to make this easier. But we're just crimping this wire down, that way it's solid. Just make sure it doesn't go anywhere, and then you're good to install it. So with your add a fuse kit, you will have a 15 amp and a 10 amp fuse. Make sure both of those are installed, and we're now going to tap into the fuse box. We have our add a fuse connected. Well, now we just need to tap it into the fuse box. So we've removed the fuse box cover, and we're actually going to tap it into the left headlight low beam. So that's going to be a 10 amp fuse right here. Doesn't really matter which fuse you tap into. The idea is you just want it to get power when you want it. So I know a lot of people will tap into the EFI fuse to give it constant power when the truck is on. If we tap into the headlight fuse, it will only have power when the headlights are on. So it kind of just depends on what you want to do. But we're going to pull that out and then plug in our new add a fuse. And now our Raptor lights have been fuse tapped, and we're good to go ahead and put the fuse box cover back on. So now we're just going to plug in our Raptor lights, the wiring harness. They'll just clip in just like that. We'll want to make sure that all three are wired up. And then you also want to test that they work. We're just going to wait till the end. But to test them out, you'll just go ahead, go into the truck, turn the headlights on. If the headlights turn on, then the Raptor lights should turn on. Now we want to plug in our 20-inch light bar up front. So we'll grab this end of the connection for the light bar wiring harness. Go ahead and feed it through the side over here. And you can clean up this wiring however you want. We're just going to tuck it into this back corner right here. There's not a lot going on, just as long as it's not getting in the way of anything else. Okay, so here we have our light bar connection. We're going to go ahead and take this connection right here. Just plug them in until you hear the snap. That means it's in place and it's good to go. We're now ready to plug in our TSS sensor and our front camera. So go ahead and grab the wiring harness and then the wiring harness from the grill, and then plug these in until you hear them snap in place, just like that. And then those two clips that we removed earlier, you can just feed them back through these plastic tabs, and then they'll clip right back into place. All right, so we've gotten all of the wiring buttoned up. I'm gonna go into the truck now, turn it on, see if the light bar lights up. I know the Raptor lights work. We just wanna test this to make sure that that works. But that has been installing the Tacoma Lifestyle Rogue Light Bar Grille. So let's go ahead and see if it works. All right, so that has been the install of the Tacoma Lifestyle Rogue Light Bar Grille. You can pick these up on our website right now at tacomalifestyle.com. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more install videos and Tacoma content. Thanks again for watching, guys.